Hello, everyone, and welcome to Lattes on My Mind. I'm Hannah.
And I'm Felina.
What are we talking about this fine evening, Felina?
We're going to be talking about asylums, but specifically the experiments that went on in them.
Oh, this sounds a little scary.
It's not. So grab your lattes and join us for the journey. How the heck have you been, Hannah?
Felina, there are so many cicadas in
Everywhere.
Kentucky. I don't know if you guys have ever experienced. I've never experienced this. I'm not from here, but apparently you guys have had one in the past where it's like, where
we've
the
had
two
several
the two broods
Yeah.
come up at the same time.
I think the
like
last
that?
time it happened, I was in elementary school. I was literally just talking to my mom on the phone about this. Because my dad apparently one flew in his mouth. I was like, I remember walking home.
Ew, wait, what?
Yeah, I remember walking home from elementary school and being like, keep your mouth closed, keep your mouth closed, keep your mouth closed. Because I was so scared that one was going to fly in my mouth.
That's disgusting. But apparently our dogs love them, right?
Our dogs love them.
Sky has ate one out of the sky. Well, I mean, out of the sky. Out of the air.
Yeah.
Sky has ate one out of the sky.
Yes. Suki and Darcy will just go up and just eat them alive.
Yeah. Dead or alive.
Yeah.
Mine. Like, she doesn't care.
I'm like, y'all are crazy. And then they throw up and then we're like, well, stop eating them.
Why? Yeah. Why do you think you do? Oh, my goodness. Sorry. Why do you think you're throwing up?
Exactly.
Oh, my gosh.
They're crazy.
I'm kind of scared of them. But it's funny.
They don't do anything.
No, they don't. They're just gross. I'm not like scared of them. I'm just like, ew, I get grossed out by bugs. But it's funny because every time I'm walking with Sky, there will be one and it will like start flying toward me and Sky.
Yeah,
and I'm
they
like,
fly right at you.
You don't want to do this because she's going to eat you.
You are about to die.
You will die.
Yes.
Not from me. I'm going to dodge you, but she will snap you out of the air.
Oh, yeah.
She tries to do that with bees too. I think I've mentioned that before.
Yeah.
I'm like,
so you'll just sit in the backyard and just like watch around and then like, what are they doing? And then she'll go up to them and she'll just eat them. They also eat their carcass, like you know how like they shed?
Yeah.
They'll eat that too.
We used to like find those on trees at my, like when we were younger and like would like put them on our clothes because they're like attached. I know.
You're such a weirdo.
That's gross. Like, see, I would never do that now. I'd be like, that's disgusting.
Yeah.
But we'd be like, look, they stick to things. I don't know.
They do stick
It's
to
gross.
things. Marshall said that, I can't remember who he was with, but one of his buddies were out on the back deck and they were just watching it come out of its cocoon and he said it only took like an hour.
What?
Yeah.
So it's not like a butterfly. Don't they take like
weeks, I think.
Yeah.
Right? I'm trying to remember back to that elementary school. We had like
that was a long time
butterflies in a cocoon and then we released them and then they were in the cocoon for a while.
I was gonna say it takes a while. I thought.
Yeah, it does.
I don't remember how long. How long are butterflies in cocoons? You all tell us.
Yeah, let us know. Get back to us. You can reach us at lattespodcast@gmail.com or on Facebook and Instagram under Lattes on My Mind or on our website lattespodcast.com.
Yeah.
Look at that.
Look at that.
Look at that. Or you can comment on any of our posts on Spotify, Apple, Amazon, Audible, or YouTube.
Look at that. A plug at the beginning.
Whoa.
As well as at the end.
You're going to get another one.
Yeah, you are. You are.
Always,
also,
always.
I went to a Bigfoot festival.
Yes, she did. And she got
Kentucky.
me the cutest gosh darn earrings.
Oh, yeah. Tell them what they are.
They're Bigfoot being sucked up by an alien spaceship.
Yeah. True story. I was like, because I was like, but she loves aliens. But it's a Bigfoot festival. And you couldn't go because...
Yes, I am officially done with my show.
She's done with her show, though, guys. Everyone give a little clap.
Which means I'm more available. And we're also recording this on a Monday because of that. So we can actually get back into our schedule.
We'll see. We'll see.
Hopefully. Fingers crossed.
And also because my birthday Saturday, so I was like, I don't want to record on Saturday.
Nobody wants to record on. Well, we also need a content to release.
This is true.
On Thursday.
Yeah,
so
we kind of need it, I guess.
It's kind of a necessity.
For you listeners out there.
Yes. All 30 of you.
All 30 of you. Hey, that's better than nothing.
I know.
But yeah, it was pretty cool. I kind of wished that I had talked about more Bigfoot sightings, but it was more like very educational, which is fine. But like, I was like, oh man, I wanted to like see like some cool stuff, like new stuff. I wanted
to see Bigfoot himself there.
Right. I did see some Bigfoots. There was one Bigfoot on a hoverboard that kept going by.
That's fun.
Or like not like a hoverboard. Like what are those things called?
I know, yeah, like the
like
back and forth.
yeah. He was like or like a skateboard or something. But
yeah,
he was cool. There were some scary ones. The bride and groom one.
Yeah, you sent me a video of them.
Creepy.
That's funny.
Creepy. I
didn't think they were creepy.
You had to see their faces up close. It was kind of. The bride was a little scary. The way that they did her makeup, or she did. I don't know if these were just because they did have like a contest, which we didn't end up staying for, maybe. But yeah, because it was like 6 o'clock.
That's so late, like, and it started at 10.
Yeah, we didn't go that early. We went at like 1:30 or something.
Oh. Well, then you could have stayed till 6 o'clock.
I mean, well, we did, but then it was going to be like after, and then they were going to go like watch films, and we were hungry, and our dogs had been left. Well, they did, but we had a brunch right before we went.
Okay.
And coffee. So we weren't hungry. And then we kind of got stuck in the presentations.
Yeah.
Because once we got a seat, because the first one we had to stand. It was like a Q&A. And so, and I asked a question. I did. I said, okay, I'll ask a question.
I'm so proud. What did you ask? Tell the people.
I said, well, it was these guys called, I didn't know who they were, but they have a show. They're called Mountain Monsters.
Okay.
And so they've had all these different encounters apparently, and I asked them if they had ever encountered a Wendigo or a shapeshifter.
Ooh,
but
they hadn't.
No. Well, he said, I consider those to be flesh pedestrians.
Okay.
So, and then
which did he say the word?
Yes, he said the word. They all were saying the word.
Crazy.
And so I said, okay.
They're
but like,
crazy.
Yeah, apparently they don't. And then he told someone else because they were asking him about the flesh pedestrians, and he said, I don't know, that's one that I want really nothing to know about, so I haven't looked deeper into it because I'm scared of it.
Because they're terrifying.
Yeah. So that was like my question, because I was like, well, I think a Wendigo is different personally than a flesh pedestrian.
You said that to him?
No, I didn't say no. I didn't.
Okay.
I just had this whole conversation. No, and me myself, I think it's different. But there was someone also dressed as a Wendigo, but it was like the antler one.
Oh, gotcha.
And there were a few Mothmans, which made me really excited. And Felina and I want to go to Crypticon this year.
Yeah, so
yeah,
if that's something you're interested in, it's happening this year.
There were some guys recording a podcast at the. I think it was like the share your story or something. So it was like encounter, I think. Yeah, and I'm like, well, I don't know, I don't have an encounter, but that would have been interesting.
That would have been fun. That's good to know that we could potentially do that next year.
Yeah, like set up and be like,
hey, we have a podcast. Bigfoot. Tell us about your.
Yeah,
we could do it live.
It doesn't even have to be Bigfoot. It could be anything.
Tell us about any of your encounters.
Yeah,
cryptid encounters, or spiritual spooky encounters.
Ugh. I want a cryptid encounter, but I don't want a the spiritual. I don't want the spooky ookies. Cryptid would be cool.
What's wrong with the spooky ookies?
Well, because it could be a daemon.
A daemon?
I don't want nothing to do with that.
Not the daemon.
The daemon.
The daemon?
It could be.
Can you tell that we haven't really recorded in 3 weeks?
Yeah, we're like, what are we supposed to do in this? How do we do a podcast? How do we podcast?
Now we have to talk about that. Okay, segue.
We just need to make a noise for when we like a clip of that, us going, segue.
Okay, so we're going to talk about asylums, you guys.
Yeah, okay.
Hannah, did you know that asylums were originally called lunatic hospitals?
Oh my gosh, that's so kind.
That's so sweet of them.
Yeah, I think we don't use that term anymore.
No, we don't. I don't even know. Are there even asylums? There's not even asylums
it's
anymore.
It's not really asylums.
They're on mental hospitals.
Behavioral, places or something like that. Because we understand mental health a little bit better.
We've grown a little bit.
We've grown as a society. Somewhat. Yeah, I don't think so, but there's some old ones that are shut down around here that are supposedly haunted and stuff.
That Wesley and I would like to go.
Yeah, you guys.
And so would your mother-in-law.
Yeah, she would. I'm sure you all can go. That would be an interesting group. But then Marshall would probably go, and then I would feel
Marshall
left
would
out.
definitely, if everybody else was going, Marshall would be talked into going, because Marshall has FOMO, and I use that against him all the time.
I have FOMO too, but I'm too scared, I think, of this to go.
Okay, fine.
I think. But what did they do in these?
Well, there's a reason they're haunted.
Okay. It's gosh.
They underwent some treatments, if you can call them that. So originally these lunatic hospitals were seen by the public as places of healing. And then I mean, yeah.
That one.
Yeah. By the late 1800s, early 1900s, they started to become overcrowded, underfunded, and misunderstood institutions.
Sounds like.
And everybody kind of was like, you know, like they would admit you for like melancholy.
Oh gosh.
Like, they would admit it didn't take any convincing at all. Like they would take kids.
So they wouldn't have like any like proof, like this is how they behave.
Yeah,
they do this.
little to no.
He
proof.
was sad one day.
Yeah, he's just got so many issues, behavioral issues. He's throwing tantrums. It's like, hey, maybe he's throwing a tantrum because he's tired. Yeah, maybe he's hungry, but they didn't want to deal with it.
So children are you?
Like
babies?
I don't think babies.
Okay,
they couldn't take babies, but like toddlers.
Yeah.
So it's like, yeah, he's 2. He's gonna throw a fit sometimes.
Yeah.
Suck it up, Buttercup. But I mean, at the time when they started, it was like mental illness. We didn't know what it was.
No,
we had no clue.
It was just
we didn't know how to help it. We didn't know the names for it. We, like
didn't know how the brain functioned.
Behavior could have been seen as a mental illness.
Yeah,
I was like, no, they're just rebelling like a normal teenager.
Right.
So instead of therapy, like in the way that we know it now, their therapy was basically like moral treatment.
Moral?
And we'll get into that later. More than moral, but it was like treatment, not like it included like hard labor. Like forced isolation, stuff like that.
Send him to the military. Yeah, like that kind of mindset.
Yeah.
Like,
there was like one when I was researching earlier. There was one that it was like the people who were there like they had like chores to do, and that was basically like free labor for like the asylum. And so they had like over 1,000 hours a week.
Yeah, definitely illegal
from all of the like patrons. But if you like use it as like, this is part of their treatment, is to like make sure they can live a normal life.
Right.
It's like, hey, can you iron and do laundry and do manual labor, like go out in the gardens and landscape.
Out.
Right. Yeah. Which to a certain extent, absolutely
nature
outside does help you balance, but like they were definitely abusing it. So we're going to get into the first experiment.
Okay. Oh gosh.
First experiment. As all of us know about this experiment, it is lobotomy. Everyone knows lobotomy. It was started by a Portuguese neurologist. I don't know how to pronounce his name. Igas Moniz. However you say it. And it was in the 1930s.
Okay.
And he drilled holes into his patient's skull.
That's awesome.
And he severed the connection of the prefrontal cortex, which is a hard word to say when you worked all day.
It's hard to say regardless.
He went on to win a Nobel Prize. For this? For lobotomy.
Oh my gosh.
Which when you stop and think about it, it's like, whoa, hold on.
Yeah.
Because lobotomies, maybe we should have waited to see the long-term effects and like of all of that.
Do you remember when I did ancient medicines, they did this, but it was like thought to let like demons out. So like what was, I assume you're going to tell me what why he did this, or maybe, I don't know.
No, not really.
Okay. Like, is that what he thought? Like, what was it? Like, was it just like releasing pressure? Like, what did he think it would do? Like, I'm confused. Like in the skull?
Yeah. So, like the, ice pick. To the skull thing. Ooh. It's basically like, I think it's like, I can't remember exactly because I didn't really go into this one as much because everybody like knows about lobotomies pretty much.
Apparently not me.
But it was like
I'm asking about it.
It was something like severing the prefrontal cortex like makes you. That's
what made you crazy?
It was like it was supposed to like reset your brain basically.
Oh, okay.
It was supposed to give you a reset.
Okay.
And then you were fine.
Okay,
except
cool.
you weren't fine.
Right.
But it was like, it was made more accessible by Walter Freeman, who is an American psychiatrist. He basically, he invented a transorbital lobotomy, which involved like an ice pick looking like tool. And you would put it through the eye socket. They would be given no anesthesia. They'd be completely awake for the surgery, which is like crazy to me.
I cannot imagine how much pain that is.
Yeah. And it's just a mallet and a metal rod. And you're just hammering.
Ew, into the eye socket?
With no anesthetic.
Not even like alcohol. They may even let it shot. Here's some
Here,
vodka.
take a shot.
Like something.
Want some tequila?
Yeah.
It's the good stuff. Yeah, no. Basically, Freeman... Here's the wild thing about this, is that Freeman toured the U.S. in a van that he called the Lobotomobile.
Oh, the Lobotomobile.
And he performed...
I'm sorry, that was loud.
No, it's fine. He performed thousands of procedures in asylums across the U.S.
So he was just like a traveling magic man.
He was just
like
touring around giving lobotomies.
Wow.
To anybody who they thought needed it. Many patients afterwards became docile. Some died. Obviously. You're hammering into a skull.
If you hit the wrong thing.
Others lived, but they were not themselves at all. At all. Which I understand to a certain extent. It's like, well, you don't want, like, I can see their medical brains being like, you don't want them to be like themselves because themselves are crazy, yeah, and you're trying to take that away, or whatever. But it's like to severe extents. For instance, Rosemary Kennedy, who is the sister of President John F. Kennedy, she had a lobotomy at the age of 23, and she lost the ability to speak and walk.
Oh, great! So they like paralyzed her,
pretty much.
Yeah. So
yeah.
But and that's like what year?
Whenever John F. Kennedy was president.
Right. I'm like trying to remember. Like that's, I mean, so, and this guy who made it was like 1930s. Yeah. That's like during the Depression too, right?
Yeah.
Like
the main guy. And then the American, Walter Freeman.
Was
the guy who was, he's not the guy who came up with it. He's the guy who like popularized it.
Okay.
Basically.
Okay. You're right.
But yeah, so it's like to that extent, it's like some people didn't walk, some people were like super melancholy, some people like wouldn't speak again. It was bad. It's bad. Lobotomies are not practiced for this reason. You can't do that. You can't take an ice pick and a hammer to someone's skull and expect everything to go. That's like it's such a precise surgical procedure, what you're trying to do, and you're using such imprecise tools to do it.
I mean, he's traveling around in his van.
Well, I don't know. I think that he like had all the supplies in his van, and then he'd go to the asylum and they'd like have like a surgical.
I know. I was wondering. I was like, did he like do the surgery in the van?
He could have. I don't know. Maybe I misunderstood it, but
no, I'm sure he was going into the asylums. But still, like that can't be. No. Yeah. No.
Okay, the next one. We're just moving right along. This might be a shorter episode, also because I didn't have a lot of time to research.
Yeah.
So, just going to lay this out here right now. If you would like to hear more or about more experiments, we could probably do another episode.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
If you know of other experiments and you just want to share with the class, please do.
Please share with us.
Okay, so shock therapy. So,
oh, no, not shock therapy.
Electroconvulsive therapy, or ECT. It's still in use today. It has been made much safer, and it is way more regulated than it was originally. So I'm still not condoning shock therapy,
right?
But yeah, there are regulations to it now, so that's a step up, I guess. Which is why
a little progress.
Partially, whenever you were like, "But we've grown now," I'm like, "Have we though?"
Well, okay. I'm gonna let you go ahead and talk about it first before I start asking questions.
Well, ask away.
No, but I'm like, okay. So you say we do it today. Like, what do they think that does for like mental health today? Like, I don't feel like
another reset or like.
Well, but okay.
I do know. I was talking to someone about this. And I think it's kind of like a shock therapy. I could have misunderstood. I don't know. I was not in a very good headspace when they were telling me about it. But there's basically like this therapy related to like trauma or PTSD. And it's basically like this traumatic event. You think about it, and they're basically like, I think they're like shocking.
They're trying to like get rid of the pathway?
It's eye movements. It's crazy. Oh. It's weird, the stuff that we can do now.
Oh, I know.
So maybe I'm incorrect.
Well, no, it's weird. But I mean, like, because medication like targets a certain part of your brain to like, trigger certain things. Like that, I understand.
But it's basically
what is the shot? Like, what is a shock?
It's like these this thing is like eye movements, I think, and it's like supposed to. I don't know. They like figured out if you do specific eye movements while you're reliving the certain traumatic experience, it takes the trauma away, so you are able to remember it without having a panic attack.
Interesting.
Which is cool. So that's not shocking. That's completely eye movement. That wasn't completely wrong. But I feel like it's a similar thing.
Yeah.
Of like,
it like rebuilds the pathway to associate, because your brain has like pathways that you can like it's weird. It's so crazy.
Yeah. So basically,
cool.
In the early days, again, it was
in the olden days.
In the early days of the electroconvulsive therapy, which is a big word for Elmo. I would like everybody to round of applause for Felina, because she said it so easily.
She did. You trying to say
not
Episcopal earlier?
Episcopal. Yeah. Not me talking in the third person. I'm so sorry. Okay, so it was very much not regulated early on.
Right.
So it was, again, first used in the 1930s. A lot of stuff happened in the 1930s, and I think that we just really need to give people grace in the 1930s, because they were going through it. They were going through quite a bit. It was literally the Great Depression. They could not put food on the table. They could not feed their families. They were losing jobs.
I mean, that's probably why he started the lobotomy business.
I mean, they couldn't afford clothes.
Right.
And, like, people became home. Like, a lot was happening. So maybe there was a lot going on. And also, I feel like people in the 1930s maybe needed to not be so quick to judge and put people into asylums, because everybody's going through it.
Yeah, and then you make them have a lobotomy.
They're not crazy. They're just having a bad day, okay?
Yeah. It's just anxiety.
Yeah, which we didn't know about, really.
No.
So there's that.
No.
So early therapies were unregulated, unmedicated, and terrifying. Like, there was trauma involved. Patients were given muscle relaxant.
Yeah, that would make them relax, though.
How can I read electroconvulsive and not muscle?
Because you're Felina.
It's fine. They weren't given muscle relaxants, and that often led to like violent convulsions. Ugh. So there were many broken bones. Lots of people who received this therapy suffered memory loss. In some cases, it was so severe they couldn't even remember their own names.
Shocked the memory right out of them?
Like, they could not even remember their names.
Oh my gosh.
And I don't even know that it's they couldn't remember their names, or if it's like they couldn't form it.
Yeah.
Like, they knew it. Like, I don't even know if it wasn't like a, what's your name? And they knew their name, but they couldn't.
It's like they
could no longer communicate it, because they were shocked with no form of treatment to protect them or protect their brain. Like, think about it. If you're getting electrocuted, your body's shaking, you're convulsing, and then the probability of you smacking your head.
Oh yeah.
While
getting
convulsing,
like
that's like much worse.
Plus the electro.
Well, and it wasn't just like a one-time thing. It was regular treatments.
Yeah, that does a number on your brain.
Which, so like that much electricity just flowing through you that frequently with no protective measures at all for your brain.
Do they have like any like what do you call those things? Like conduits? Is that what it's called? What is it called when it's like something that like channels that like electricity? So it was like straight
they were
on
literally
just
shocking them.
That's fun.
They didn't know they needed them.
That's fun.
They didn't know they needed them, though.
Right.
You know, like, that's the horrible thing about it.
They were like, this helps. Does it?
Yeah. So something that's also really sucks is they would also do what's called an insulin coma therapy. So they were basically injected with very high doses of insulin.
That's not good.
To induce a coma. And doctors, again, they believed it would reset their brains. Except the issue is that we use insulin for diabetics because their body stops producing it, but then you inject it. It's just... There's so many health issues, so many health concerns. Who approved this?
They were essentially like, just hold the power button down and turn it back on. Like, that was their, like, how to fix a person was literally, we'll reset your brain.
We're gonna turn you off and turn you back on.
Right, exactly. Literally.
Like, yeah. And I don't know how long it varied the, like, length of the coma, basically, depending on what you were treating it for. But
did they have any success rate to like think that this was actually like a treatment?
Well, here's the thing, it's hard to tell because as I said in the beginning, it was seen as a place of healing. So everybody would like put people in there and they would go and they would admit it, and then they very swiftly learned it was not a place of healing, and they were being traumatized and tortured, basically.
Right.
So then any success that they saw, it was what's the word I'm looking for?
Overshadowed?
No, it was like when you're not tampering with the evidence, but like they're when you're testing things, it's like
there's no variable
it was contaminated. Any success they saw was contaminated, and they could not have possibly counted it because everybody was traumatized and it had such a stigma around it that people would like act okay. People who needed genuine help would act completely fine and act okay so that they wouldn't be put into an asylum. Because one, it's overcrowded. Two, they're not helping.
Yeah.
So people would pretend to be okay. People would just shut up and do what the doctor wanted them to do to be discharged as quickly as they possibly could be discharged, which sometimes took months to years.
Gosh.
They just kind of just sat there and did what the doctor told them to do so that they could leave. So even if there was success, they couldn't count it.
Yeah. And were they like locked up individually in rooms, or like were they?
So there was like massive overcrowding. There was one thing that I watched on it, and it was like this one lady, she had been institutionalized, or there was a journalist who went undercover and was like institutionalized for like a year or two.
Oh gosh.
And she said they were sleeping. They were like in a hallway. They were way overcrowded. Like it was like, okay, this room can hold 250 people. They would have like triple the amount of people in it. And they were like, we were sleeping like bed to bed, like
ew,
like the foot of your feet were at the wall, your head was up against another person's head whose feet were against the wall on the other side.
Oh my gosh.
Like there was not even room to like get up in the middle of the night. Like it was bad.
If you have to go to the bathroom, you're just gonna have to hold it.
Well, the journalist was like, God forbid, like the worst thing that could possibly happen in one of these places is a fire would break out, because each door to each room is locked individually with a different key.
Oh my gosh.
And someone would have to manually come and unlock every single one of those because they're locked at night. They can't get out at night.
Yeah. That's so horrible.
So, yeah.
That's such a bad idea.
I know.
And that much overcrowding, there's dangers of like fires and things like that. I don't know why. I just made that up, but the max capacity has been reached and there is fire danger.
No, I don't think there's fire danger in the asylums because they weren't allowed to have like fire. That's one of the main things. You can't have fire. You can't have rope. You can't have like writing utensils. You can't
cook.
You can't have like cookware, like silverware.
Oh, but you think they're not gonna? Some people be getting those things.
Yeah, some people. So there was also another form of shock therapy called metrazole shock therapy, which it caused full body seizures, and there was like people were like terrified of it. I don't really know what was like so much more terrifying about it, but that before the injection. The terror was so intense that some patients like would try to escape, or they would end up sadly ending their lives rather than try to endure another of the metrazole shock treatments.
What was different? Oh man,
I don't know. I don't know what was so different about that, but like
what
you have to think too, it's like some of these people are just depressed and they go in and then they start getting electric shock treatments, and then it's just like it's making them unalive themselves rather than get better. And it's like some people admitted themselves, a lot of people did not. A lot of people were admitted without their consent.
Right.
It was something crazy like upper 80s, early 90s% were like admitted unwillingly. Whereas you look at it today and it's like 71% are admitted willingly. So it's like, whoa. I mean, you know, like if you've ever been around an individual who needs help, some people will refuse help, and it's like, no, you literally need help. And like that's just something that has to happen.
Yeah.
But then again, you know, our mental health system, while it's not perfect,
no,
it is not this anymore. So that's a little bit different.
Well, it looks like, because you said that, I guess this one was so bad because it actually caused seizures. Did the other one cause seizures?
Yeah, all of the electroshock caused seizures, but like this one was like before, like this was like full body. Like convulsions. It wasn't just like, oh, my head's convulsing. Yeah, convulsing.
It's hard.
Big word. It was like literal full body.
Oh,
like
gosh.
they like involuntarily full body. Like couldn't help it. Couldn't stop it.
Dang. It's so sad to like think of people living in these situations.
And also to think about like how many people were you doing this on, and all of these people are literally unaliving themselves or trying to escape rather than get this treatment. So like,
when do you realize?
Why do you press on?
Right. When do you realize that the treatment's the problem?
At what point are you like, maybe we shouldn't be doing this? Maybe we should refine it. Maybe we should give them a muscle relaxant.
Like, no, it's going to work, and they have like no evidence that it's working.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Crazy.
Early medicine, guys. It was a scary thing.
Early mental health medicine too. Yeah. Was also
that too.
So now we're going to get into the sexual and social cures.
Uh-oh.
It's no secret that people saw homosexuality as something they could cure.
In the
past.
30s? Or when was this? Like the same kind of, okay. Yes,
yeah,
okay, so.
Yeah. So in many asylums, mental illness was like a label that you slapped on someone who didn't conform. So like I mentioned earlier, maybe they were just a rebellious teenager. No, they're mentally ill. They need treatment.
Right.
Maybe they are homosexual. No, they're mentally ill. They need treatment.
Gosh.
Maybe, I can't think of another example, but like...
Well, yeah, even people who,
anyone who didn't go with the social norms.
Yeah.
No, they're
someone with
ill.
A disability, I think too, would be.
It's like, they don't know they have a disability, and it's just like, oh no, I literally physically can't do that.
Right.
You're mentally ill.
You're mentally ill. Yeah.
To the asylum you go.
Yeah.
Again, or children who were misbehaving.
Children misbehave. That's the very definition of children.
Kids are gonna be kids. Also, what you think is misbehaving, what you think they should know, maybe they don't know.
Yeah.
Have you actually taught them that, hey, we can't do that. We can't act that way in this situation.
Sounds like there were some parents who had no patience whatsoever.
Yeah. And that's not to say, like, I have worked with some kids who did need treatment for things, like I get it, but like not this type of treatment. No. But like there are some kids where they genuinely do need like medical professional help. Like, but
sometimes you're just not equipped.
Not in this instance. Women were often institutionalized for what we call hysteria, which is a vague term that could cover postpartum depression, rebelliousness, or sometimes, in some cases, reading too much.
Oh,
they read too much.
God
They're
forbid.
Hysterical.
It's like, I feel like it's like Beauty and the Beast. Like, she reads.
Heaven forbid my wife asked me to pick up potatoes, and I pick up tomatoes, and she's upset with me. She's hysterical. Put her into an asylum. Like what the world?
Well, and especially with postpartum depression is, oh my goodness. Like, people have only
Nobody
recently
knew
started
about it.
to like understand it. So like
that didn't exist. It was a thing, but we didn't know it was a thing.
If you label it hysteria, which is like interesting because that's what it always like. Whenever anything, like even back and when we went to the Salem witch trials, like when they were having those like seizures and convulsions, and they just
they're just hysterical.
Yeah. And why only women? So like that's why I'm like confused. Like
because we're stupid, Hannah. We're just stupid women. What do we have to worry about? We're so dramatic.
Obviously.
Yeah.
No. Mm-hmm.
So and then in the mid 20th century, homosexuality was considered a mental disorder. Asylums experimented with quote cures like chemical castration, aversion therapy, and forced heterosexual encounters. They would literally force.
Oh my gosh!
Yeah,
I promise you that will not do anything.
That doesn't help. That actually hurts worse.
Yeah,
that's going to make the situation way worse.
Oh my gosh.
In some cases, patients were exposed to certain images, and then shocked or nauseated to try and like build up an aversion.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
So they're like trying to do the opposite of like.
So they're like
what they were.
Say I'm like, yeah, no, I don't. There's nothing wrong with it. Like if you do, but I don't. I'm very much a straight individual.
Yeah.
But say I go and I say, yeah, I am attracted to women. They would then show me pictures of women and then shock me.
Oh my gosh.
Or nauseate me.
Yeah. To try
and associate nausea and shocking, like trauma.
That's just causing
around
fear. Yeah.
Women.
And trauma. Not, no.
Yeah.
That's.
Which is just not going to help.
No. That's not how it works. It's just like any fear-based. Like,
well, I mean, and even if it does help, it's only helping because you've traumatized a person.
Yeah, and you want to change them.
Well, but also like not only does it like yeah, sure, maybe you achieved what you wanted to achieve, or maybe they came to you and they said, I don't want to feel this way, help. But like all you've done, is traumatize. Yeah, you've not caused an issue. They still feel the way they feel. It's just now they're traumatized.
Now they're traumatized on top.
And now they can, and that's going to cause more mental issues because they're going to traumatize themselves all the time.
My gosh.
But, yeah.
Can you imagine? Ugh.
Now this one kind of confused me a little bit, but I wrote it down because it was interesting.
Okay, we'll try to figure it out.
We're going to get into mind control.
What?
Yeah. So in the Cold War, so the 1950s. To the 1970s, the CIA, they launched Project MK Ultra, a top secret program aimed at developing mind control.
MK Ultra, that sounds like a beer.
Ultra light.
MK Ultra.
MK Ultra. So some of these experiments took place. Wow, that was really annoying. Sorry. Some of these experiments took place at the Allen Memorial Institute in Montreal. They were under the direction of psychiatrist Dr. Ewan Cameron.
Ewan
Cameron.
Ewan? I was like, what?
Obi-Wan Kenobi Cameron.
Right, yeah.
His name, however you pronounce that.
I think it's Ewan.
Ewan
McGregor.
However you say it. Whatever. Ewan.
Ew.
Ewan. Whatever. So many of the patients there were there for depression or anxiety. And they were subjected to, this is crazy, this is wild, high doses of LSD, extreme electroshock therapy, sensory deprivation, and something Cameron called psychic driving.
Psychic driving.
So what this meant for the patients was basically they would hear taped messages played on a loop for hours, over and over, sometimes days.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Like brainwashing.
And after being admitted the LSD, they would listen to these tapes, and then it would like put them into like a chemically induced sleep. Now that's kind of cool. You're like, yeah, sure, take this memory away, whatever. You know, it's basically like hypnosis. It's not really mind control. It's basically they would hypnotize them while they were under the influence
because they're listening to it while you're
the issue with this though is that none of these patients, not a single one of these patients that underwent this treatment ever consented to this treatment. They just took them and they did it.
Oh my gosh. And this was the 50s and 70s?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Which, I mean, 70s makes sense. It tracks.
Yeah, I guess.
But
like the LSD.
Yeah. But like if you're not consenting to it, if you don't know what's like.
I feel like LSD is just going to make you feel more crazy.
Well, yeah. But if you're also then listening to things, then you're going to be like, oh my gosh, I've had this like earth shattering like revolution. and thank you so much, whatever you gave me. Like, it's, can we just talk about, like, that's like very cult behavior. I'm sorry. I'm just going to say it. Let's drug everybody and then fill their head with what we want them to think and how we want them to act. Yeah. And then let them think it was their idea.
It's control.
That's such a cult-like behavior. Yeah. What are we doing, CIA? Okay.
Yeah. What are we doing?
Now, I will say this one was redemptive. The U.S. government acknowledged.
Okay.
They
done messed up.
We probably should have told them what was happening. We should have let them consent, and they did pay like a very very small compensation. So yeah,
to the people.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, maybe they should give them a little bit more than just a little.
Yeah. I also feel like, okay.
Yeah, we drugged you without your consent.
Yeah, by the way, you were on LSD. Sorry if you get drug tested when you're trying to find a job.
So what did they think like they were getting into, the people who were being administered the drugs? Like, were they just like going to the doctor? Like what?
Well, it's the CIA. Well, it was at the Allen Memorial Institute.
Oh, okay. So they were just like, here, take your medicine.
Yeah. And then they were drugged and then.
Great.
Yeah. But here's the thing about it is a CIA project. Mm-hmm. So.
We don't know.
We don't know what they were expecting to get out of it. Super soldiers? I don't know.
Right. Captain America?
But then isn't that, what's the word for that whenever you're like, is it nationalism?
Nationalism, like when you only...
Where it's like you die for your well,
obviously patriotism.
Like no
patriotism, but nationalism. I think nationalism.
It's like forced.
Oh,
there's a word for it. I can't remember. Anyways,
yeah.
Words are hard. It's almost 7 p.m. So this is dedication for you
past
guys.
Felina's bedtime.
No, it's not.
I know. I'm messing with you.
Okay, so then the next one and last one is the silent torture. So,
oh gosh,
in many psychiatric institutions in the 19th and 20th century, patients were routinely placed in restraints or solitary confinement.
Oh,
this was supposed to calm patients or make them feel protected.
Has anyone been restrained before? It is not calming.
No, I know. Well, not only make them feel protected, but also protect them from like themselves. Like if they're like harming themselves.
Yeah, if you're harming yourself, that's different.
But over time, they were just used like to control the patient.
Yeah.
Like, oh, you're acting hysterical. Oh, you don't want to take your meds. Here, let's put her in restraints and then force them down her throat. Like stuff like that. Patients would be tied to the bed for hours.
That is terrifying.
Days.
Oh my gosh.
One of the other things I saw said weeks, but that was the only one that said it. They were left in their own filth. They were not checked on.
Disgusting.
Like think about it, for days, you're just laying in your own filth because you're tied to the bed. You literally can't get up to, even if you're in an asylum. So something might actually be wrong with you, but like,
if there's not, and
you want to get up and go like brush your teeth or take a shower, go to the bathroom, you're not allowed to because you've been tied up, so you're just left there.
What is this silence part? Like just like you weren't allowed to talk to people, like, or you were just left alone?
Oh, like, no, it's just like this is just a normal. It's like the silent killer, you know, like
I thought they were gonna like.
They're not outright doing anything to you. It's that they're neglecting you.
Okay,
they're just leaving you to rot. Yeah. Others would be left in like some would be left in like rooms without windows or any sort of contact or stimulation. Nothing, like no radio, no TV, no nothing. Like
that makes you go crazier.
That does. And there were some people who were like, depending on, like, there's obviously various like there's what.
What is that? What is that?
A thing.
A thing? What are you talking about?
Varying degrees of crazy.
A spectrum.
Thank you.
Yes. She goes, a thing, and like does this like long like motion like in front of her. Like I don't know what that is.
It's a spectrum. Yeah. So like some people would be just being treated for like hysteria or whatever, and then some people were like treated for like literal like oh, you're actually got something with you. But the people who actually had something going on with them were like tied up and then changed to beds and then like left there for years.
Years?
For years. Obviously they would come and they'd clean them and whatever eventually. But then it was just like, no, you're literally left in a room with no windows. You're not brought out to see the sun. You don't get to see anybody else. You're just tied up in a room and you're...
Yeah, if you weren't crazy
forgotten,
before, now you are.
Basically.
Like, what the heck?
So some institutes used these conditions to study how sensory deprivation affected behavior.
Okay, but...
So you're deprived of any sort of stimulant at all.
Yeah.
Now how are you? They didn't call these like experiments though, like the studying them.
Well, of course not.
But I mean, obviously that's what it was.
They were, yeah.
Yeah. So many of the people who for lack of a better word, survivors of
For real, though.
The asylums, they eventually came forward. Some people wrote books. Like I said, one of the ladies was like a journalist going undercover. Other people even testified in court cases or to governments or stuff like that.
I hope they sued the heck out of them.
Please change this.
Yeah.
So obviously it worked because we don't have asylums anymore.
Thank God.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think being tied down, just laying there for a year would be my worst fear ever.
Well, I mean, obviously they would feed them.
Well, yeah, but you can't get up.
I think being locked in a room alone.
Yeah.
Your mind's gonna play some tricks
Yeah.
on you, especially with no sunlight. Are you kidding me? I do good enough not getting sunlight during the day, during the week.
Right.
Because we don't have a window in our office.
Our office.
I'm
oh, look, it's the sun when we come out. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're very pale because of it.
Yes, we are. We're pasty.
We're pasty.
But yeah, that's what I got for you today.
Well, we hope this makes you happy that we don't have asylums today.
Be grateful. If you do feel like something's going on with you and you need help, don't hesitate to reach out to your doctors, your friends, your whatever. There's people you can call.
More help. And also still though, some people
don't let them shock you.
Yeah, don't let them shock you. Don't let them just prescribe things without actually knowing what's going on.
Ask questions. Be like, and what is this?
Yeah. What does it do? Why?
Obviously, we've come a long way, but you should be really doing that anyways.
Right. What is an SSRI? What is it? What is it? That's what I'm on. It's for anxiety.
Yeah. Ask questions. If you don't know what it is, ask questions.
I Google it.
Yes.
Or Google it.
Yes. And also, if you know of any other experiments that went on or whatnot, you can reach us at lattespodcast@gmail.com or on Facebook and Instagram under Lattes on My Mind, or you can comment on any of our posts on Spotify, Amazon, Apple, Audible, or YouTube, or you can reach us on our website at lattespodcast.com
and submit your furry friends to our animal of the week because we're still waiting.
Please, I want to see all the fun little fur babies.
Yeah, how many times do I have to ask you guys?
Come on.
Right.
They're going to be posted on Instagram and Facebook and our website and we're going to talk about them on the podcast. And the world's going to know that you have the cutest little baby.
Exactly.
So come on.
I mean, we talk about our babies all the time.
Yeah. Which obviously they are pets of the week, but we already talk about them. So we don't need to,
talk about them any more than we already do.
Yeah. So don't go crazy.
Yeah. And don't let someone drug you without you knowing.
Yeah, and don't take LSD. Yeah. That's just bad.